Hey there, it's Syama, CEO of Scaling Retail, and today we're talking about retail strategies for 2020. Now, your business may have done well this past year in 2019, and you're probably scrambling to think about what's next in the upcoming future for your business. Now, there are so many volatile things that are coming up in 2020, everything ranging from tariffs and production and issues coming out of China, all the way through to things like the resale market and how your brand will adapt to evolve to this growing trend, to maybe even thinking about things like Gen Z. That's right, guys, millennials, you're old news. So as we start to look about next year and what's coming up, we're going to unpack a few different strategies to help set your business up for success. And don't worry, if any of these strategies seem vague or if you're confused on how to implement, we're here to help. So let's get started. Today, we're going to start off talking about the resale market. Now, what's really fascinating about this trend is it really kind of took off steam in about the last 2 years or so. Now, what's fascinating about this new recent introduction of it on a more mainstream capability is that it's actually providing both a threat and also an opportunity to today's brands. On the opportunity side, we're looking at things like opportunities for partnerships, opportunities to get your brand out there, and to also align with values that younger millennials and Gen Zs are really attuned to. Those values being things around value, things around sustainability, and looking around opportunities to not only have wardrobes that are ever changing, but also be able to be smarter about their financial resources and decisions. Now, as far as the threats that the resale market is actually posing to your business has to do a lot in terms of market share. Now, 25% of luxury consumers are now starting to shop secondhand. What does that mean for your luxury brand? Well, in essence, it means that you're up against some of the main competitors out there who are saying, hey, your brand might be out there selling at full price, but if I can buy it secondhand on the Real, or even introduce that piece into my collection through something through like Rent the Runway, what you're actually finding is someone who's taking away business from your full price selling in order to be able to integrate that and have second and third lives. While on the top level, that might seem like an amazing strategy as far as what's happening in the market, you have to ask yourself, how is your brand positioned to be able to take advantage of that? And we have a couple different key ideas. And one of the big key ideas is looking at partnerships on a very strategic level. Now, certainly not all of you guys are going to be equipped and able to open up your own resale strategies, meaning you won't be all doing buyback programs, but being able to look at strategic partnerships is a great way to be able to say, hey, our small business or our growing business is aligned with some of these bigger initiatives. For example, companies like the Real, Kuyana, etc., have partnered up with companies like ThredUp. They've also partnered with companies like the Real. And what they've done is said, hey, we want you to be able to sell your products back. We want you to be able to really contribute back to society in ways that feel good to you, which means donating or reselling. And in exchange for that, we're going to give you a product credit that's going to go towards your next purchase. Now, it's not just enough to establish partnerships, but you also have to be able to execute and amplify that. So let's say, for example, you get an opportunity to do a collaboration with the Real. You go into an initiative, you say, hey, anytime my brand gets sold back to the Real, the customer is going to be able to get a $10, $20, $50 credit to buy something new. Well, that's a great thing to be able to introduce, but it only works if your customer knows that you're doing it. So as you're looking at integrating some sort of partnership collaboration, you have to ask yourself, how am I going to amplify that messaging? What sort of advertising am I going to do in order to be able to make sure that our customers hear about that? That's going to take place in terms of newsletters, social advertising, as well as taking out any sort of print media advertising in a co-op fashion. I'm sure a company like the Real or ThredUp or any of the new other resale platforms are going to be excited to say, hey, we're partnering with an emerging or growth stage business. The second strategy that I think is so interesting about an opportunity like the resale market is it gives you a chance to also liquidate and sell through old moving goods. One of the tricks that used to happen in the industry was having unbranded resellers sell products through eBay. That's right. That means that you would see another brand out there under a different name selling through products that were old or aged inventory from, let's say, 5-10 years back from a brand. Now, that was simply the company rebranding themselves and reselling that product so they could possibly get a higher margin on that resale item. Now, as opposed to eBay, we've got other great avenues for you to sell products, such as places like Poshmark. What I love so much about an opportunity like Poshmark is under the guise of another brand name, you have an opportunity to resell those products. And guess what? To be able to sell onto a platform like Poshmark, you're actually only going to have to take a few simple pictures, which really alleviates a lot of the photography demands of most of these resale platforms. You'll be able to set the price that you want. And if anything, at the end of the day, guys, you'll be able to move old or aged inventory at a price that you are able to set. Now, lastly, when we think about the strategies involved with resale, when we think about ultimately what the bottom line is for the customer and what millennials and Gen Zs are looking for, we find that they're also looking to align with cause-based marketing, as well as cause-based solutions and platforms. So while we're trying to find other opportunities of partnering, while we're looking at ways of getting rid of inventory, I think it's also worthwhile to turn our attention to the opportunity of donating. That's right. So companies and organizations like Soul for Souls, or even places like your local women's shelter or men's shelter that are looking to take goods and looking to resell them, not just in terms of their social enterprise and their resale platforms, but also in terms of giving back to society, you'll find that a lot of your consumer markets out there are going to be more attracted to your brand if they see that you are authentically giving back to a particular cause or mission. So what does that mean for you as a brand? Well, certainly you're not going to advertise that you're on a platform like Poshmark. You will advertise and let people know if you're on a platform like The Real, you have a collaboration, and you will advertise and amplify your messaging if you choose to move towards a most cause-based platform. And why is that beneficial to your brand? At the end of the day, guys, it's not just about saying, hey, I'm engaging in this resale market, I'm engaging in a platform that's actually better for the planet, that's in alignment with your values, but these are the ways in which I'm amplifying and I'm actually aligning to your needs. And every single time, guys, when you start to think about where your brand values are as a business, you have to ask yourself, where do my brand values overlap with my customer values? And in the case of resale, in the case of donation, you're going to find a huge synergy and overlap between Gen Z and millennials and the strategies that we've proposed. So while we've unpacked a lot of the different opportunities and ways that you can take advantage of the resale market, it's really important that you truly understand some of the risks and threats if you do not take advantage of the opportunity to jump on this right away. Now, I like to think about two different times in history where this was an important moment to look at. The first was about 10, 12 years ago as we looked at the outlet business. In the beginning, people saw the outlet business as a stepchild, something that was new, something that didn't actually have a lot of traction. But now over time, it's become an integral part of many different companies' P&L, right? Their revenue streams are now heavily dependent on full price and the outlet business. About 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we saw the introduction of sustainability and also going more green with your business. Now, the companies that were on the pioneering edge of that got to integrate, build systems, and actually create sustainable business models that now have allowed them to flourish in this time of increased heightened popularity around sustainability. Now, the companies that did not see the trends, the companies that did not take advantage of looking at sustainability have been involved in the call-out culture, and the call-out culture is greenwashing. So where do you want to fall on the line of history? We know the resale market and looking at innovative ways to sell off old goods, as well as new ways of doing partnerships and collaborations, and even looking at nonprofit sectors are an amazing way to align brand values, and also an amazing way to be able to build that into your revenue stream and into your operations over time. So being able to have that plan so you can have some sustainable growth for 5, 10 years from now is an opportunity that I'd like to give you today, something you really need to think about. If you're confused, if you're wondering how to integrate these strategies and different ways that you can integrate that into not just a short-term plan or not just into a one-off marketing campaign, but something that's truly authentic and that's going to have a meaningful bottom line, send us an email at hello@scalingretail.com. You certainly don't want to get caught into a pattern of seeing trends and hearing about them, but not being fast to react. It's the companies that get there first, that amplify their messaging loud and clear, that are going to end up with the biggest not only brand visibility and brand presence and press around it, but are also the the ones that are going to operationally be able to have that time to fine tune it so you're not going to be last to market, guys, and failing at these strategies. All right, guys, that's all from me over at Scaling Retail. Please send us an email. Would love to hear your thoughts on the resale industry. And remember, guys, the resale industry is going to affect all of us. It's time now to create a plan, and we would love to help and support you in doing so. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.